This is Walt Disney World Today. Give us 5 minutes and we'll give you the world.
It's Wednesday, January 25th, 2006, and this is episode number 53 of Walt Disney World Today. I'm Matt Hochberg from MGMstudios.org. Our panel today includes trip planning guru Mike Scopa of MousePlanet.com. Welcome, Mike.
Hey, Mike. Hey, Mike.
Hi.
Hey, I have a question to start off rather than a little opening. Does anybody know where in Walt Disney World you would hear someone say, I know there's much more to being a princess than just a beautiful dress and a crown?
Something my girlfriend might say to me, but I don't think that's what you're looking for.
Cinderella Bration?
And Testa, come on down.
Is it really?
Yeah. And you don't like it.
Yeah, and I don't like it. the one time I heard it, it must have stuck. How about
that? We've also got Mike Newell of world-famous MouseWorldRadio.com is here. Welcome, Mike.
Hi, guys. Thank you.
And the co-author of the unofficial guide to Walt Disney World is here, Len Testa. Welcome, Len.
Hey, how's it going, Matt? Thank you. Thank you all.
Len brought us...
Perhaps you saw my talent portion on the Miss America pageant the other night. But
Hey, Mike Scopa, why don't you tell our listeners about our new Listener of the Month contest?
It's exciting news, everybody. It's exciting news. We are thinking about, and we have decided, actually, to have a Listener of the Month promotion. What we would like to do is we would like to have one of you out there come join us for a podcast. That's right. Your golden tones will be mixed with ours, and you will actually join us on a podcast and have a great time. What we would like you to do is, and correct me if I'm a little off on this, Matt, we would like to have you go to www.today.com/listener, where you will find a form, and we want you to fill out that form with all the information that we will ask you, including you telling us what you would like to talk about if we selected you to come on board and join us for a podcast. Of course, there will be some things we will have you do, like to prepare for the podcast. But we're thinking that this would be pretty exciting for us, and I know that there are going to be some of you out there who would really love to do this. So what we've decided to do is, starting, I believe, as soon as we get some entries, to start thinking about who we would like to have on board, and to have you guys come on board, join us, ask us questions, do whatever you want. But I think it's going to be a fun thing to do. So we are announcing that on this podcast tonight.
Great. And, of course, that's www.today.com/listener. You can fill out the form right there. And
so, Mike, if they call in and they need help planning a trip, we could help plan their trip, tell them what to see, what to do.
Right, Len. I think it's wide open. They can come in and say, hey, I need some help on a trip. What do you suggest I should do? Give me some pointers. We could also, entertain somebody coming on board and just asking us whatever they want to ask us. There may be some questions they want to know about the resort, about where we came from, anything and everything. I think that there are some shows out there that we haven't done, and we're actually looking to our listeners to help us bring some magic to them.
Great. Well, it's Wednesday, which means it's our listener shows, and we're going to be answering your listener emails. If you'd like your question answered on the show, please send us in. You can email us at questions@www.today.com. Our first question comes from Jennifer of Mississippi, and Jennifer has a question for Len.
Oh, hey, Jennifer.
Hi, Len.
Dude, you do that remarkably well. I'm a little scared.
Well, Jennifer asks, your book, The Unofficial Guide to Walt Disney World, recommends avoiding the parks on extra magic hour days. Does this still apply in the off-season? The hours of operation are so limited during the off-season, it seems like it would be a good idea to attend on extra magic hour days.
It's a good question, actually, when we get a lot. Here's what I like to do for extra magic hour. If it's an extra magic hour morning at the Magic Kingdom or Epcot, I think it's a good idea to do it, assuming you can get there when the park opens. Jennifer, so if the park opens at 8 and you can be there like at 7:40, 7:45 during the off season, then it's great. You'll save about an hour of standing in line at the Magic Kingdom if you get there that extra hour early. And Extra Magic Hour evenings, also pretty good, assuming that you've had a touring plan and you got through all of the major attractions during the day. I still don't like the Animal Kingdom for Extra Magic Hour mornings or evenings because our studies so far have indicated that if the park has longer waits during Extra Magic Hour mornings than it does on other days of the week. So what I would say to do is, if you're going to the Magic Kingdom, you're going to Epcot, Extra Magic Hour morning's fine. Extra Magic Hour evening's great if you want to just use it to mop up certain attractions you haven't seen. I also like Epcot for Extra Magic Hour evenings just because I like Epcot. The studios is really kind of break even. If you've got young kids and they can't ride Tower of Terror and Rock and Roller Coaster, there's no point going in the morning. You can cover everything else on a non-Extra Magic Hour day, and so I would avoid the Animal Kingdom too. Does that make sense?
I think so.
Did I cover everything there, guys?
I think
Yeah.
so.
Yep. Our next question.
Jennifer, drop me a line if I meant.
Great. Our next email comes from Phil DeLucia of White Plains, New York. And Phil writes, Walt Disney World cast. In January 2005, we stumbled across a cart selling frozen chocolate-covered bananas in the Animal Kingdom. My daughter loved them and vowed to have another during our upcoming trip in 2007. Can you tell me if this treat is still available, and if so, where they can be found at other areas of Walt Disney World, if available there?
Well, I think the bananas are still available in the Animal Kingdom. These are the chocolate covered ones with nuts. They're like $2.50, $3. They're the normal price of an ice cream treat, and I think it's kids can eat them fast enough so that they don't drip chocolate everywhere. But I think it's difficult for adults to do. But yeah, they're still available. They were available in December anyway, so definitely pick one up.
I haven't seen them in any of the other parks, Len. Have you?
I think the studios has them. You might want to check Deb Will's website for under dining to see if they're available. My understanding was that they were available in the studios as well, but I don't think they're in the Magic Kingdom or in Epcot.
If they're in the studios, I'd bet they'd probably be at Sweet Spells over on Sunset Boulevard. That'd be my guess. They sell. I know I've gotten chocolate-covered strawberries over there and some other chocolate-covered foods.
They like freeze these things in nitrogen though, or something, don't they? I mean, it's like really, really cold, whatever it is.
I never heard about that, but
I don't think it's really nitrogen. I was just kidding.
Oh, okay. So this
Nitrogen.
A little science joke there.
Dry ice.
Dry ice. Okay, whatever. Yeah.
Our next question comes from Kevin Faw, who writes, Hi, my name is Kevin, and I am from Ontario, Canada. Good work on the podcast. My wife and I have been to Walt Disney World the past 2 years. We are going again this year at the end of February for a week. This real question, though, is we will be staying at Pop Century Resort. Is this the last resort on the bus routes, and how long should we give ourselves to get to the various parks taking the bus system?
I guess this is my question. Okay, Kevin. First off, let's discuss the bus routes. There are buses that are specifically routed to each of the resorts, so you don't have to worry about Pop Century being the last resort on the bus route. So if you happen to be at Magic Kingdom, at MGM Studios, Epcot, Animal Kingdom, you will be able to take a bus directly from the resort to your to Pop Century. At least that's the way it is these days. As far as where you're located, Pop Century is very centrally located, so you're not that far away from the parks. You're about 5 to 7 minutes away from MGM Studios, maybe 10, 12 minutes away from Epcot, let's say 15, maybe the same for the Animal Kingdom, and you're about 20 minutes away from the Magic Kingdom. And it's probably a good idea to take the bus from Pop Century to the Magic Kingdom. It leaves you right off at the front of the park, whereas if you drive, you have to go through the toll plaza, park at the Ticket and Transportation Center parking lot, take the monorail or the ferry across, and then get to the park. So taking the bus from Pop Century to Magic Kingdom should be fine, but don't worry about Pop Century being at the end of the route, because it has its own specific bus from the parks to the resort.
And Kevin's next question is, this is our first time taking Magical Express. We'll be arriving on an out-of-country flight. What are the steps to take after we arrive?
I think they'll clear customs like they normally would, and they won't see Magical Express or anything until they do so. I'm not sure that this is a good question though. Well, their bags probably won't be automatically routed
As long as,
Magical-
well, as long as the airline they're taking is one of the airlines that participates in the Magical Express program, then their luggage would be.
Even through customs, I didn't think so.
Why? It's the same similar thing that they do with the bags on the Disney Cruise Line, where they it's kind of like a Magical Express at the end when they take your bags and send them through customs for you, and then you pick them up after the cruise.
Okay.
But as long as it's a participating airline, that's the only caveat to that. And then, Kevin, once you are finished with customs, you'll be dumped into the main area of the airport, and you'll just proceed down to the area where there's the regular ground transportation, and you'll see a desk for Disney's Magical Express. You'll check in, so to speak, and then they'll direct you to a bus that'll take you to your resort, where your luggage will arrive, assuming you have a participating airline a few hours later. Kevin's last question is, finally, my wife is expecting, what rides can and can't she go on? My guess is just rides that any of the thrill attractions that, like Mission Space or, I don't know.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be the the roller coasters, the stuff that the really jerky rides and those sorts of things will be off limits. I would definitely check out the Guests with Disabilities guides online first before you go, Kevin, because they're going to list every sort of ride restriction for all kinds of people for everything in the park. So you'll know from stage shows to thrill rides to parades what your wife can and can't do.
Great. Our next question comes from somebody. I forgot to write down their name. Do you know if it is possible to add extra days to a 10-day Magic Your Way pass, or upgrading to an annual pass, or buying separate one-day admission tickets? Which option, if they need more than 10 days, should they get?
Well, I'm guessing that there's a reason why the program ends at 10 days, because if you want something beyond 10 days, I'm guessing that Disney would say, hey, if you want more than 10, then go to the annual pass. If you do start off with a 10-day and you use 3 or 4 days, and then you say, gee, I really want to bump it back up to 10, that's pretty easy. But if you really want to start off with something more than a 10-day admission media, then you really need to strongly consider the annual pass, because of so many benefits that come with it, such as the Disney dining experience, where you can save 20% on your meals, such as maybe getting a better deal on your room rate. So anything beyond 10 days just pretty much raises a flag and says you need an annual pass.
Our next question comes from Jeff of Everett, Washington, who writes, please discuss the PhotoPass system. It is a great way to get photos of the entire family. While it costs nothing to get your picture taken, you will pay quite a bit to get them printed and sent to you. However, the PhotoPass photographers will take a picture with your personal camera of the whole family if you ask them. It is a convenient service and another Disney brainstorm that really increases the joy of vacation. Guys, what are your thoughts of the PhotoPass system?
I think it's a nice idea, but it's expensive.
Yeah, the prints are... if you consider what one print costs there versus what one print costs to you on any of the online services that develop your own photos...
Yeah, one print on Snapfish is like 20 cents, right?
Yeah.
And one print on the Disney website is $12.75, $13, something like that?
Yeah,
Yeah, so it's just crazy.
I would... if there was one photo that was an amazing photo of someone in your group, it's those kind of photos that you see of yourself or of someone in your family that's like, oh my god, we have to have that, then perhaps I would consider buying one, but it's prohibitively expensive to buy more than one.
You're not going to buy 24 exposures that way. Exposures, that's funny. Yes, welcome to the digital world. It's just not going to do it. The thing that I would use it for, is for like those once in a lifetime group photo things, but it's just too expensive otherwise. And if you look up Disney's PhotoPass on the web, you will find hints and tips and tricks to maybe grab some of those photos off your computer at a much lower price. I'm not going to say any more than that now.
For legal reasons.
For legal reasons, right.
Our next question comes from...
Matt, before we start the next question, let me go back for Kevin's thing about Magical Express. He's
Yes.
not going to be able to use the resort airline check-in service because he's going international on the way
okay.
back. Good point.
Great. Wait, Len, that's only he can use it when he comes here, but not when he goes back?
I believe he can do it when he comes in, but he can't when you're departing. You're not going to do the resort airline check-in service. You actually have to check in if you're going internationally at OAI.
Okay, great.
OIA, sorry.
Our last question comes from Kai Dean of Manchester, United Kingdom, and Kai writes, in 2000, myself and my family went to Walt Disney World. In Tomorrowland at the Magic Kingdom, we saw a band playing called Tomorrowland Blast. When I returned in 2004, we did not manage to catch them. Do they still play in the park? We would love to see them again on this year's trip. Thanks a lot.
Well, unfortunately, over the last year, there's been a purging of some of the entertainment, and I believe that Blast was a victim. I know that over the last year, I've been looking for those little special bands that really makes the vacation really nice, because it's a spontaneous addition to the vacation. Future Core and Epcot I haven't seen in a while. The 2x4s and MGM I haven't seen in a while. It seems like the only thing I see are the Dapper Dans these days. So I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know if we'll ever see the return of these little musical groups. And if the Disney powers are listening to our podcast, you can be sure that the guests are looking for that. So bring them back. Can't be that much expensive.
Yeah, there was a pretty big purge there of the live entertainment and the live music, and I don't know what they've done. It's more like, it's not like the big groups like Off Kilter's still there, right?
Yes, I believe they're still
It's
there.
the the smaller groups that got axed, and I don't know why, because they were, some of them were pretty entertaining. But
Maybe British Invasion is really expensive. Who knows?
yeah, maybe so.
Well, that's it for us today. This has been
Oh,
episode...
no, it's not. I got one more thing.
Oh, go ahead, Len.
On the Magical Express, I've been Googling here while Scopo was talking, and going back to Kevin's question, if he had a connecting flight somewhere in the United States, then they'll probably pass the luggage through. But if I'm reading the Disney's Magical Express FAQ, and it says, if Orlando is the first point of entry in the United States, guests will follow the U.S. Customs and Border Protection process and claim their luggage upon disembarking the airplane. Once they've completed that process, they'll proceed to the Disney Welcome Center, located in the main terminal building on the A side of Level 1. Their luggage will be transferred to the baggage claim area, where Disney will collect it if it's tagged with the Magical Express luggage tags. But if you've already completed the U.S. Customs and Border Protection process in some other city or before entering the U.S., I didn't even know you could do that before you entered the U.S., go directly to the main terminal building and Disney will claim your luggage for you.
Great.
Yeah, a quick Disney Magical Express FAQ lookup on Google will get you these results too, Kevin, but drop us a line if that's not clear. So they won't take it through customs for you automatically.
Are we done, Len?
I believe we are, thank you.
Well, Len says that's it for us today. This has been episode number 53 of Walt Disney World Today. If you want to find older episodes, read our show notes, or send us your own comments, visit the Walt Disney World Today website at www.today.com. You can also email us at questions@www.today.com. For Len Testa, Mike Scopa, and Mike Newell, I'm Matt Hochberg. We'll see you on the next show.